The inspiration for the Jack Tyrrell thrillers came about during an annual reread of my favorite book, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I wanted to write a thriller, but I wanted to write a character who undergoes a deeply spiritual journey, as Dickens wrote for Ebenezer Scrooge. Suddenly, the first three Tyrrell books popped into my head, as did my hero, Jack Tyrrell, an extraordinarily capable man who has to overcome his demons by righting wrongs and helping others, with a little assist from the other side. I've never had that kind of immediate inspiration strike in my whole career. In the very first paragraph of the whole series, Tyrrell's wife Maggie is murdered by the mafia in retribution for Tyrrell's failure to deliver on a bribe. He spirals into heavy drinking and scaring people into paying their not-so-legal debts. On the 5th anniversary of his wife's death, Maggie's ghost appears to Jack, just as Marley's ghost appears to Scrooge. Maggie has interceded with the chairman, as God is called in these novels, to give Tyrrell a second chance. Maggie arranges for Jack to meet Harry, his spiritual guide, who introduces him to the people who need his help. Jack will become a righter of wrongs. This introduction mirrors Marley's introduction of the spirits of Christmas past, present, and yet to come. But for Jack, there's a catch. After he helps someone, they will never remember him. And there are no guarantees of success or survival. Jack has to be completely selfless. Fortunately for Jack, being completely selfless doesn't mean that wonderful things don't happen in his life. And the most wonderful of all is meeting Kim Gannon, the woman he's going to build the rest of his life with, assuming he lives that long.
I don't know how to explain this, but when the man I'd fallen in love with told me that he worked directly for God, it freaked me out. I mean, that's the kind of thing you hear from men on street corners shouting Bible quotations into the air. I wish there was a priest or a minister or a psychologist handy, someone I could talk to about this, but no such luck. So it seemed there were two options to choose from. I could believe him or decide that he was insane. My guy's a great guy. Truly wonderful. Jack's 6'2" with eyes of blue. He's a decorated war veteran, a Green Beret, and a former deputy marshal in the Marshal service. Since he left the Marshals, he's been a tough do-gooder of the First Order, a handsome, honest-to-goodness hero. But when he first told me that he worked for God, or the chairman, as he called the big guy. Anyway, when Jack first told me that he worked for him, I thought he was out of his mind. Way out. Not a good moment. Now I believe him. But that's why I'm writing this diary. It's not like I can talk openly and honestly with my family and friends and tell them that the man I love talks to an angel. Yes, an angel, and the two of them work together righting wrongs. Despite the fact that I believe Jack, and please don't judge me until I finish explaining, I go through a lot of uncertainty and doubts. I mean, who wouldn't entertain doubts at least once in a while over a story like this? Entertain doubts is putting it mildly. I thought I was going to end up as a New York Post headline. Dead woman found clutching St. Jude medal. Ugh. The other day I was channel surfing and I saw a few minutes of Bridget Jones' diary. Bridget, who's played by Renee Zellweger, is this charming, fun, 30-something mess, trying to find the good guy and the right job. In the midst of her troubles, she seems to achieve a sense of self-awareness and a sense of control over her doubts and fears, thanks to keeping tabs of events in her life in her diary. Bridget doesn't get a happy ending because of the diary, but I think writing it helps her get to a place where she could find a happy ending. Anyway, Bridget inspired me to try it out. So, dear diary, now let me try to explain Jack, who works for God. This is my version of things. Jack's story would undoubtedly sound different. His name is Jack Tyrrell, and thanks to his time in the Special Forces and the U.S. Marshal Service, He's a government-trained private detective come troubleshooter. The reason he became a troubleshooter, a righter of wrongs, was because of his late wife, Maggie. She was shot and killed almost 7 years ago. They were walking home and she was shot on the steps of the brownstone they lived in. Maggie was killed because Jack took a bribe and didn't deliver what he was bribed for, some information about a relocated witness. One of his rationales for taking the bribe, as he explained it to me, was that he knew he couldn't possibly deliver the information. The Marshal service keeps their witness security on a need-to-know basis, and Jack didn't need to know. But once the people that had bribed Jack realized he wasn't going to deliver the information, they went after him and Maggie. Jack told me he should have known they would have gone after him. He felt he was to blame for Maggie's death. The mobster who bribed Jack was murdered a few days later after Maggie was shot, for reasons unrelated to Jack. He was dead and buried along with Jack's bribe problems. Jack spent the next 5 years drinking a lot more than he should have and taking minor security jobs. According to him, he used his size and reputation to pressure people into paying their debts. On the 5th anniversary of her death, Maggie appeared to him like a ghost. She visited him right in his living room and told her that she was disappointed in what he had become. Maggie had intervened on his behalf and got him a second chance to turn his life around. Now he's become a legitimate security agent and a righter of wrongs, all because of Maggie. If this sounds familiar, it should. It's basically A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and Maggie was Marley the Ghost, and Jack was Scrooge Lussell. When Jack told me all this was the moment that I thought, oh my God, he really is crazy. Then he said he wasn't asking me to believe what he saw was true. He was asking me to accept that he believed it was true, and that belief had changed everything. And I said, I still think you're crazy. And then asked what the chance was that Maggie got for him. Jack explained that Maggie had arranged for him to meet with Harry Mitchum. Harry wasn't exactly Jack's partner, more like a case manager, and Harry was not a man. He was an angel that worked directly for the chairman. I was completely confused and heartsick. This is going from bad to worse by the second. The chairman. Who's the chairman? Jack pointed his forefinger to the sky in a gesture generally understood to mean God. Okay. The chairman was God. Harry worked directly for the chairman, and Jack worked with Harry, which really meant that Jack worked directly with God. How could I come to any other conclusion other than Jack Tyrrell, the man I'd fallen in love with, was a complete, absolute, raving lunatic? I said, you and your partner work for God. He admitted that when I said it, it sounded off the wall nuts, and I said, is there any way to say it that doesn't sound nuts? And after a long moment where he seemed to be looking for a reply, or knowing him, probably looking for a joke to lighten the moment, he said, I got nothing.